There, now you can hear me. Pre-stream dance, pre-stream dance. Gotta do that pre-stream dance. To everybody who's new here, that's what we do before the stream. We do the pre-stream dance, so that we wait for YouTube to catch up to me. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the stream. Hello, Rosariana. Hello, Gerbil. Hello, Fat Man Rolling. Hello, Mr. Sir. Hello, Temmie. Temmie has returned for the first time in a long time. Welcome back, Temmie. Appreciate you being here, man. Yes, now you should be able to hear me. I figured it out. I'm a dumb idiot. I had my recording settings on earlier. Hello. Welcome. Is anybody new out there? Give me a sign. Give me a holler. I'd like to see anybody who is just joining us for the first time. Let's see. I want to wait a minute or two. I appreciate that you're just giving me good. It's okay, Hedgehog. It's your first stream. So silly mistakes like that could be overlooked. Hello, Claude. Welcome. Studio Dean tipped $1. Remember, we made Higurashi and Konosuba, and in red, there was no Umineko anime. Of course. There's absolutely no Umineko anime. Don't worry about it. We're not going to mention it today. We're not going to talk about that today at all. Hello, guys. So it seems like, for the most part, it's all the usual people. So in that case, I probably, although there are 9 people here now, I'm gonna wait a couple minutes to see if any new people show up before I go into every single spiel about everything I'm in or do, because if you're all already the same fucks, you already know everything. So I'm not gonna like waste a bunch of time going over shit. But you never know. You never know. We're gonna wait a minute. How is everybody doing tonight? Is everybody chilling? Is everybody having a good time? I'm tired. Yeah, I've had a couple long days. We just got a snowstorm here in the past couple of days. So I had to shovel. Wait, there was an Umineko anime? No, there wasn't. I had to shovel my car out, not once, but twice, from 2 feet of snow, because I had to do it in the morning to move my car off the road for them to plow. And then I had to literally do it again because the plow came through and plowed me into the other road. So then I had to shovel myself out at like 6 o'clock at night when it was getting dark. So that was not fun. How many people do you think estimate found you through this channel rather than the other one? Recently, quite a few more. I've had people join the Discord server who have come from this channel. Obviously, this one's quite a bit smaller. It's getting there, but I don't know if anybody new will be showing up to the stream tonight. I'm hoping at least a couple people. We'll see. I know that they're probably going to be a little bit late because most of them are probably not getting the updates through Discord. So they're probably going to find out about it a little bit later. So I imagine we'll have some people trickle in as we go. I mean, there are 1,000 people subscribed to me. I hope 1 or 2 of them show up, but we'll see. We'll see. Planning to do my usual dust about anything we do tonight, and it snowed here as well. Hard all ice, yeah. It was actually pretty soft here. So it's pretty light snow, but not great. So anyway, I'll probably do my little my little spiels maybe like halfway through. But for now, today we're here to celebrate reaching 1,000 subscribers on the new channel. Woo! I'm super pumped. Thank you guys so much for making this happen, for making this possible, for making it happen, as it were. Much excited about this. This is, the thing I've been wanting to do for a very long time. So I'm glad that I'm monetized. I'm glad that it's finally working out. It makes me very happy. Thank you everybody the other week who on the stream got me monetized live. That was quite a bit of fun. I appreciate that from everybody out there. And I hope that those of you who subscribed on the stream actually decided to watch some of the stuff that I put out. So, yeah. So tonight we're here to do something a little bit different. Usually I play... Thank you, Temmie. Usually I play video games on this stream, or on my other channel, at least. If we all unsub will the stream end, yeah, maybe not do that. Thank you, I appreciate it. Although I would need more than 20 people to unsubscribe now for me to lose my monetization. So yeah. So tonight we're here to do some live analysis because even though I don't talk about anime an immense amount on my channel, I did do the big series about Sword Art Online, and I did do the Rent a Girlfriend video, the rest of which will be coming out at some time in the future. I decided today that I would do some live analysis about anime. That instead of doing something interesting, like talking about different anime themselves, I decided to talk about the studios that make anime, because I'm a weirdo like that. So let me just pull up my little boop. Ta-da! We'll go here. We got our little tier list. Look at my little setup. Isn't it so nice? Isn't it so cool? I took 20 minutes to set this up. So we have a good, like, I think it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27 anime studios to talk about. Sometime in the future, Reed, when I have the money to pay Claude to edit it. Yeah, I should be getting my tax money back soon, which means that I'll have enough money for at least one. We'll figure it out when we get there. So today, yeah, anime studios. I'm really awkward live. You all know this about me. And we're gonna start with basically just going over kind of what the criteria are for judging this. Obviously, this tier list looks a little bit different than most tier lists. Most tier lists have an A, B, C, D, and S tier. I don't have the S tier simply because I figured that, you know, most anime studios, if they're not like Mappa's logo is a copy and paste of Madhouse's homework. It's true. I figured that if, you know, like in the anime industry, most anime studios, if they're not good, don't usually stick around for all that long, because anime are very expensive to make. It's very difficult to make an anime. So, it's definitely that way. Madhouse has been around for way longer than Mappa has. We'll get into that. So, as you'll see, this list is going to be pretty stacked towards the top of it already. And I didn't want to spread, I only have 27. I didn't want to spread it out too much over too many tiers. There's one tier at the bottom. We'll get to that. Anime is fundamentally immoral, and therefore nobody who produces it can ever reach S tier. Okay, we'll go with that explanation. Also, how's my volume, everybody? Is it okay? I hope it's good. It's just me tonight. There's not like any music or anything, so it's just me. I hope you enjoy listening to the sound of my voice forever and ever and ever. Then again, I don't suppose you would be here if you didn't. So there's a couple criteria I'm going to use for tier listing the anime studios today. There's a couple things I'm judging them on, essentially, because we're gonna, if I'm gonna do something stupid and meme like make a tier list, we got to be academic about it. So there's a couple of different categories I'm judging anime studios on. Stuff that's in their shows, stuff that's outside of their shows. Number one is obviously the most obvious thing about an anime studio. Can you hush? No. Claude says anime is lame and dumb and therefore cannot be any better than pretty good, I guess. I'm putting you in the trash tier, Claude. So, the first quality that a good anime studio needs is the quality of their animation. And what I mean by this is that, you know, how fluid is your animation? How much sakuga does it have? And sakuga, for those of you who don't know, is a term that in Japanese is basically the equivalent of, oh, it's so good. Oh, it's good anime. Oh, that looks so good. Oh my god. Oh, it's so cool. Cool moments. The other big point about raw animation fidelity, though, is how much your anime moves. So a lot of TV anime, if you'll notice, if you stop watching the subtitles and just look at the anime, a lot of lower quality TV anime will just do a simple trick where for extended periods of time, they'll have camera A and camera B, and they'll just cut between camera A looking at character A going blah, 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 and then cutting to camera B with character B going blah, 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 and they will not move. Maybe they'll like have like a one frame animation in the middle where like they'll move their head a little bit, and then they'll keep talking. So I'm also judging studios on how much their anime just moves, how much interesting movement is going on, how visually appealing is it to look at as far as an animation perspective goes, or in place of actual animation, how many interesting tricks do they use to get around the fact that they're not putting in the time to animate 200 frames of a character raising their finger for 5 seconds of animation. I'd probably say there was one S-tier anime studio. I'd say Kyoto Animation, since their shows are quality and they actually treat their animators well. Fair enough. I know nothing about anime, so I don't know if I'm going to stick around. Fair enough. The animation needs to be so fluid that I can drink it. Yes, 100%, absolutely. So the other quality is the other visual quality, and that's just visuals in general. That's everything that isn't strictly animation. So that's stuff like artistic direction, that's stuff like post-processing shenanigans, stuff like character design, backgrounds, things like that. I don't often pay attention to backgrounds, but every once in a while I might point something out. And so, because some anime studios are better at raw animation, some are better at how their shows look, the aesthetics of their shows, how visually interesting their shows are. And some, because some have a more traditional anime kind of style and some have a much more out there style. So aesthetics and art direction are a good, two different indicators of visual quality. A lot of stuff like sound design, music composition, voice acting have slightly less to do with the actual anime studios themselves. Obviously, they hire all those people, but for the most part with anime studios, animators, all that junk, they're already on their staff. They're people they hired. Composers are usually more freelance people who individual studios hire for different projects. So that's why somebody like Yuki Kajiura, who did the sound, might be in an A1 Pictures show like Sword Art Online, but then might also be in a Studio Shaft show with Madoka Magica, but then also might be in a Ufotable production with the second season of Demon Slayer, because composers are just kind of hired on a show-by-show basis. So, points go for which composers a studio got, but that's not really a huge concern. Sound design, I'm not always super concerned with, unless there's something really notable about it. I don't usually pay attention to it. Voice acting, generally speaking, the voice acting industry is so competitive that, it's really difficult to even really, get bad voice actors. I've seen it happen. The main character of Black Clover, I only watched the first episode of Black Clover because he was so annoying that I could not continue to watch the show because he just screamed. He had no talent. I don't know how he got there. But besides that, usually voice acting talent's pretty good, regardless of the show. So that's that. Next, we have the storytelling qualities. And, obviously that's kind of my forte. I consider myself, a storyteller over an animator. I can only talk about animation and cinematography and stuff like that from an outsider's perspective, from a fan's perspective, from a, novice's perspective. I can talk about storytelling from an actual professional perspective, however. So, with the storytelling elements, there's two types of shows that studios make. Either they make original works or they do adaptations, or they do some of both. Some studios are known primarily for adaptations, some are primarily known for original work, and some do everything in between. And so basically I'm going to be judging on, both those qualities. So if a studio primarily does original work, I'm going to be judging them on their actual storytelling chops, things like that. If a studio does adaptations, I'll be judging on the two categories of how well they adapted the source material, at least as far as I'm aware. I haven't always read a lot of the source materials for anime, but some I have. And basically how well they picked the source material that they're working with. So if a studio picks a lot of really low tier light novel harem trash, that's not gonna get them as great a points as a studio that might pick more original, interesting things to work on. And finally, after that, we have just making sure. Will you be giving examples of notable shows from each studio? Abso-fucking-lutely. I have the Mal page right up of all the anime studios. I will be going through their shows as I rate the anime studios. This is going to be very in-depth. I hope you're prepared. So the final thing I'm judging them on is, of course, outside factors, such as how they run their company. Now, being an English fan of anime, this information isn't always readily available. unless something particularly notable happens or studio is particularly known for how they treat their employees. I have 3 examples that I'll be able to bring up today of this, but they do have a considerable factor when that information is known, because, you know, if a studio treats their employees really well, I'm obviously going to rate them higher than a studio that treats their employees like shit. My body is ready. The quality of adaptation is almost entirely based on how well the studio can translate the story to the medium of anime. Very true. And not just how well the story works out. Absolutely true. Yeah, like, because there have been really great stories, Umineko, that have had very poor adaptations. But that's kind of a spoiler. We'll get to that later. So yeah, so there's a couple of qualities I'm going to judge anime studios on. Also, this tier list is a little bit scaled in a little bit of a weird way. Just, again, because usually if an anime studio is bad, it doesn't exist for very long. So A tier is essentially the equivalent of S. Top tier, great studio, excellent quality, holy shit, I worship the ground on which you walk. B tier is a very good studio. Maybe there's just a couple things holding it back from getting A. You know, maybe it's just something that is a little more shaky than an A tier anime studio. C tier is your run-of-the-mill. It's okay. Okay. The employees deserve to be treated poorly. They literally try. Thanks, Dribble. Appreciate it. And then D tier is actual bad shows. The trash tier is a joke tier. We'll get to that. So, without further ado, Dribble's body is ready. How many people are watching? There's 6. Lovely. Thanks, guys, for sticking around. I appreciate it. So, we are going to be starting with Studio 3 Hertz. So, let's bring them up. Yeah, most of these are under S. So, most of these companies have a studio in their name. I'm not alphabetizing them by that. I'm alphabetizing them by what's after the studio in their name, because that'll make it much more interesting. But yeah, so we're starting with Studio 3 Hertz. You can't see all of this page. I apologize. Maybe I can do something like this. There we go. That makes it a little better. How's my tier list look, though? Not great. Okay, cool. But we can just work with this for the time being. I got it, Dribble. Studio Dean tipped another $1. I said there was no Umineko anime. We'll get to that. So, Studio 3 Hertz. So, Studio 3 Hertz are known largely for their original works, which there's only a couple of studios that are really known for that. We'll get to the other big one later. 3 Hertz is a really interesting beast. They make a lot of shows that make people kind of scratch their heads and go, huh? So there are 3 big shows there are 3 big original works, and they've done some other things as well, but their 3 big original works are Flip Flappers, Princess Principal, and Healer Girl. They're the ones that did SAO better, right? Yeah, they did SAO better. He even said it in red. That means it's true. That's fair. So 3 Hertz's original projects are primarily what I'm going to be talking about because I know the most about them. I've seen some of Sword Art Online Alternative. I've seen Princess Principal. I've seen Flip Flappers twice. I have not seen Healer Girl yet, but I do intend to. Also, the studios I've included are largely ones that I've seen enough of their work to be able to comment on. So that's why there are some big studios that are not on that list, because I didn't have the time to watch all I wanted to watch before this video. So there's a couple missing, but I put in anime studios that I felt like I'd either seen a lot of their stuff, or even if I hadn't seen a lot of their stuff, I'd seen enough of what the community thought about their stuff to make a basic judgment. Isn't Princess Principal based on a gacha game? No, it is not at all. Princess Principal is entirely original. So 3 Hertz's quality of their anime is difficult for me to talk about because visually stunning. Fucking their artwork is incredible. their animation is very, very good. I don't know how they pull the shit out that they do, because their budget must be horrendously low, because mostly they come out with niche weird shit. But they like to tell very interesting stories. Flip Flappers is the first big one that they really made. They made Dimension W before that, but that was an adaptation. Flip Flappers was their first big work. Flip Flappers is a story that clearly needed 24 episodes and only got 12. I think they thought that they were getting 24 episodes and then they only got 12, because the story of Flip Flappers until the last 2 episodes makes like no goddamn sense. And even in the last 2 episodes, there's still so many things that like you do not know, you do not understand, but you just kind of have to go with, because they just don't get explained. The basics of the story get explained. There's enough there that you can essentially go, okay, cool, I get it. But sometimes it's a little bit weird. Princess Principal mostly fixes those issues. Its plotting and pacing are very, very good. They're very, very stable. They also had the help of Studio Octus, I believe, also worked on Princess Principal. Let's see. It was Octus. Studio Octus also worked on Princess Principal. But it seems primarily like a 3 Hertz production. And Princess Principal is really solid throughout. Like, the art direction is beautiful. It's this huge steampunk world. And it's about a group of girls who are spies. It's really cool. But they're not like overly sexualized. It's really cool. I love it. Good God, those covers are so colorful and loaded with different things. Indeed they are. But the problem is that at the end of Princess Principal, again, it feels like they needed another episode, because, the big scene happens, they defeat the big bad, but she just kind of gets away. Like, then I was like, okay, when the next episode they go after her, and then this once and for all, and then the show just kind of ended. But it was a little disappointing, but I did like it. And their last big original show that they did is Healer Girl, and Healer Girl is another magical girl anime, but it's a musical. Oh, Dragon! Hello! Flip Flappers is a show where they use the last 2 episodes to explain the plot for episodes you didn't see, and the first 10 episodes seem unrelated almost entirely, but it's still a great show. Dragon's lurking. He's lurking. He's here for once in his life. I love him. Thank you. I mean, crown handler is a thing? I don't know what crown handler is. But yeah, so Healer Girl I haven't seen, but Healer Girl is a musical. Hello, Dolph Spaghetti, welcome. Yeah, Healer Girl is literally a musical, which is weird. They don't do that in anime. There's never been like an anime musical before. So I haven't seen it yet, but I'm very excited to sit down and watch it sometime soon. So 3 Hertz just comes up with these fucking weird ass ideas. These weird fucking ideas. And they really love telling stories about like cute girls, kicking ass. But the cute girls kicking ass aren't sexualized, which is fantastic. I love that. It makes me like want to watch their shows. It's great. It's fantastic. I love 3 Hertz. But the problem is that their storytelling is so kind of all over the place occasionally. And sometimes you can kind of see their budget a little bit. Clearly they don't have the biggest budget to work with, because obviously they're mostly like, a lot of their output is original shit. So unfortunately, I'm not gonna be able to put them in A tier like I'd like to, just because their storytelling is while very interesting, is not always sound, and it feels like the time management of their episodes is not always great. So I am gonna put them in B, but it's a well-deserved B. That's an A tier from Gerbil. If anybody else has any opinions on any of the studios I bring up, feel free to let me know. I'm sure your hypothetical tier list would be different than mine. So that's Studio 3 Hertz. I'm gonna need some water. This is gonna be... Okay. Because the next one's gonna take a lot out of me. Because Crown Handler's Prince Principal's continuation is essentially an OVA series. There are 2 episodes so far. Oh, cool. I hadn't seen that. So awesome. I would love to check it out. So A1. Mice Man, you got here just in time for me to be salty. Congratulations. So I have a lot of problems with A1's pictures. I haven't seen any of their shows, but not being horned as female characters is quite swell. Absolutely. And admittingly, a lot of this comes from a place of bias. So when I was first kind of getting into YouTube a bunch of years ago, and I first kind of discovered anime YouTube and analysis content in general, I followed a particular YouTuber. I'm not going to mention who this YouTuber is because they've since been involved in a lot of controversy, including defending lolicons, which isn't great. They kind of fell off the bandwagon at some point. But they used to be a YouTuber that I really, really respected. Their analysis was really, really in-depth and really, really interesting. They once did a whole series just examining why a shitty harem show was shitty and what that meant for the rest of the industry, which I found fascinating. And they're one of the reasons that I know so much about anime studios. So they really hated A1 Pictures, which means that I really hate A1 Pictures. But I do have a bunch of reasons for that. So most anime studios, not all of them, most anime studios are run as, smaller companies. Sometimes they'll have like corporate overseers, sometimes they'll have corporate backing. But oftentimes they're kind of their own separate entities that have control over what they make for works. A1 Pictures is not like that. So basically what happened was, now I don't remember the exact year. Let me look up the exact year A1 was founded. It was 2005. So, back in 2005, Aniplex was a huge, huge company, primarily distributor of light novels, but also a lot of other things. Aniplex is just a general kind of media production company, essentially. They're most known for their light novels. They've published stuff like Spice and Wolf, like Sword Art Online, like most of those are pretty good, barring the obvious exception. So they decided, hey, instead of, hiring other anime studios to make our shows, we have all this fucking money laying around from horny ass weebs to keep buying our shit. Let's just put together our own studio. And so they did. And they called it A1 Pictures. But the problem is that Aniplex is a corporation. So A1 Pictures is not run like an anime studio. A1 Pictures is run like a factory, essentially. An anime producing factory. Hello, Lucas. Welcome. You're ready for me to be salty. And I know this for a fact. This is not conjecture. There's been a lot in past years that had come out about how A1 Pictures treated its employees. I don't know how up to date those facts are. They're all pretty old. I talk about it in my Fixing Sword Art Online video in much more detail. But yeah, A1 treats its employees like shit. A1 tends to just churn out fucking garbage constantly. Every once in a while, they'll come out with a good show. I'll freely admit, Kaguya-sama Love is War is apparently pretty good. Haven't seen it yet. Apparently it's pretty good. But A1 is run like a factory. There's a lot of allegations about overwork. And in general, their shows are just really shitty. So again, this old YouTuber that I used to watch went into a lot of detail about the fact that A1 shows all look the same because they all use the same basic kind of shape for their characters' faces. They all use the same basic animation style. There's no creativity in a lot of A1 shows. And there are exceptions, because A1's a huge studio. Sometimes they'll produce like 2 to 3 shows a season. But in general, not great. So, for instance, I want to show you something. I hope you can see this, because you can't see the entire screen. But, so A1 Pictures was founded in 2005. A1 Pictures have made 235 shows. So let's compare that to some other companies that exist. So let's find one of the biggest anime studios we can find. I believe that'll be Toei. So let's find Toei. Or let's not find Toei. Where's Toei? in that case, let's compare to like, I don't know, let's say, where's Madhouse? So let's compare that to Madhouse. So A1 Pictures has 235 shows, and they've been around since 2005. Madhouse, at first glance, you know, has a lot more shows. They have 384. Madhouse, in contrast to A1, and you can't see this number because it's too far over on my screen, but Madhouse have been around since 1972. So A1's existed for less than 20 years. Madhouse has existed for more than 50. And A1 has almost 2/3 of the shows that Madhouse does. So that means that they're producing shows like almost twice as fast as Madhouse is. And Madhouse is a big studio. Like, Madhouse is a huge studio. We'll talk about them a lot later. Let's see, what's another one? Studio Bones is another really big one that I'm going to talk about in a minute. Studio Bones. They're probably under B. Maybe. Where the fuck is Studio Bones? Why can't I find them? I'm just gonna have to look them up. Studio Bones. So Studio Bones is established in 1998. So 7 years before A1 Pictures. And they only have 151 shows. So they're still producing a little faster than Madhouse, but nowhere near as fast as A1 is, by a long shot. Enjoying learning about the discourse I had no idea existed? Absolutely. Kind of wild to think some of these studios are more than half a century old. Oh, absolutely. Kaguya-sama's first season is good. Everything after that is not good. The adversarial dynamic that made the first season good is gone. Season 2 replaced with generic rom-com. Very big decline. A1 is mass-producing low-quality content. If you guys want to see someone mass-produce high-quality content, and donate to Hedgehog stream elements. Woo! Control F to search a page. I don't want to do that. Stop making me try to do things. I guess I can go Bones, but they're not on here. They're not on this list for some reason. Not all the anime studios are on this list for whatever reason. I think this is technically a list of... No, it is a list of studios. I don't know. I don't know why some of the studios aren't on here, but... anyway. So, A1... Yeah. They're not great. In terms of their studio itself. I also have a big bone to pick with corporations. I hate corporatization, especially of media. I think it's the stupidest thing in existence. That being said, A1 does have some decent shows. Sword Art Online obviously is, honestly, like, if you look back at Sword Art Online, it was really impressive when it first came out. Like, if you were actually around the anime community when Sword Art Online first came out, it was hella impressive. It was like, oh my god, this looks so good. It doesn't look that good anymore. It didn't really age very well. I've heard really good things about Golden Time, but Erased is not great. Seven Deadly Sins is not great. More Sword Art Online. Blue Exorcist I've heard is not great. Fairy Tail I've heard is, yeah, I've seen a lot of that. It's garbage. Kaguya-sama I've heard is pretty good. Black Butler was one of my favorite anime growing up, but then I recently went back and watched it, and honestly, not super impressed. Like the anime better. Darling in the Franxx, an abomination. I can't believe they made it. There's just so much just shit. There's so much shit in here. They fucking made Arrow Manga Sensei. There's fucking Blend S. Fucking Asterix War. What's wrong with your lips? I've got lipstick. You bastard. SAO was a genuine marvel when it came out as far as animation goes. It's true. I've heard a few people refer to Fairy Tail as the worst anime ever. Yeah, it's one of the worst. They did Alden Noah Zero. They fucking did Gate. They did fucking Gate. Who remembers Gate? Jesus Christ. So yeah, they've done a couple of good things, but they churn out so much fucking crap. They churn out so much fucking crap all the time, constantly. The list just keeps going. Look how much shit they have. Look at all of this. Look at fucking all of this. Look at all this. There's so much shit. These are the Arrow Manga Sensei people. Jesus Christ. Let's sort them by score. So Kaguya-sama obviously got a really good score. 86, I've heard is not bad. Fuck You, Gate is hilarious. F tier immediately. Kaguya-sama, this is Space Brothers. Kaguya-sama, I've heard Anohana's pretty decent. And then Shelter, I guess, but that's a music video. And then it just kind of very quickly just goes right to the shitter. Right to the shitter. Right around this point is when you start getting shows that aren't necessarily fantastic, and it very quickly goes downhill for 3/4 of its content. Very quickly. They did the Sister Insect show. Remember Gate for the Generation Kill memes. Watching the stream while spinning on my chair. Excellent. F tier immediately. Unfortunately, I can't put them in F tier because they have done a couple of good things. I cannot begrudge them that. They did do Kaguya-sama. They did do Golden Time. They did 1 or 2 good things, so they're gonna go and C. They're gonna go and C, because I hate them, but they've done some good things, and I don't want to discount the good things they've done. Anyway, moving on to greener fucking pastures. Studio Bones! One of my favorite anime. Let's look up Studio Bones again. Studio Bones. Studio Bones. So Studio Bones was founded, like I said before, in 1998. Don't you trash talk Licorice Recoil? I haven't seen Licorice Recoil, so I'm not gonna judge it. But I don't tend to watch A1 shows, even if I've heard they're good. I'll probably watch Kaguya-sama at some point, but I don't tend to watch them. Studio Bones, founded in the very late 90s. They're kind of the kings of shonen. So Studio Bones have done largely they are known for their incredibly good shonen shows. Sometimes they even do like long form stuff still, which is crazy to think about because long form anime doesn't really happen anymore. I don't see Jerry Seinfeld on that list. Jerry Seinfeld isn't an anime studio, Ventus. What do you want from me? So obviously, the most well-known, the best anime in existence, Fullmetal Alchemist. They've also done, I'll be back to this in a second. They did all of My Hero Academia. They did Space Dandy, which is pretty cool. They did Bungo Stray Dogs, lots of Bungo Stray Dogs. They did, let's see what else. They did Darker Than Black. I know there's a couple other shonens they're known for. Noragami is another one. They did Vanitas. They did lots of My Hero Academia. They did Soul Eater. That's the other one I was thinking of, was Soul Eater. And they did Blood Blockade Battlefield. I think that's what it's called. I can't remember its English name. But they also have done a couple of more interesting stuff. Space Dandy is a very wacky show. I don't know why they've got it, but they did it. They did it. Primarily, the other really wacky show they're known for is Mob Psycho 100. Mob Psycho 100 is a very, very kind of trippy show. It's got a lot of shonen tropes, but it's done in a very, very different style than most shonen. Jerry Seinfeld-kun tipped $1. Yes, it is. No, it's not. No, it's not. They did High School Host Club and Gosek, yes. And I was about to mention Ouran High School Host Club is also one of my favorite anime of all times. Not just because they've got cute boys in it, but because they've got cute boys with personality in it. Yay! All things I've liked. Bones is great because they know how to make shows for guys and they know how to make shows for girls. And they do both. You know, stuff like Mob Psycho 100 appeals to both guys and girls equally. Most shonen shows nowadays, oftentimes, if you're a woman watching anime, you're still watching shonen, let's be honest. But they know how to make more kind of like Fullmetal Alchemist, more like, you know, My Hero Academia, more like straightforward battle shonen shows. But they also know how to, you know, make Ouran High School Host Club. They also know how to make Space Dandy. They also made Bungo fucking Stray Dogs, which is like one of the biggest like female attractive shows ever. They also did Vanitas, which is made by the lady who did Pandora Hearts, which, while technically a shonen, is not made for men. We've got personality. They have Space Dandy because it's by the same creator as Cowboy Bebop. Is it? I didn't know that. I'm learning something new every day. And also Cowboy Bebop, obviously. Studio Bones, I mean, what can I... Miceman, did you really just say that? Everyone, I want you to look at the chat, and I want you to pay attention to what Miceman said. Mice Man said that Cowboy Bebop was mid. Will my mods please ban Mice Man from the chat? Will you silence him for the next 30 seconds, please? Because he has just shouted blasphemy, and he's being an idiot. Cowboy Bebop is a masterpiece. Shut the fuck up. So I'm gonna have my mod shut you up for 30 seconds. Only do it for 30 seconds, guys. Don't be assholes. Yeah, no. Studio Bones, there's nothing bad you can say about Studio Bones. I mean, they're just great. They're just great. They're just great. They're just great. So, Space Dandy is canonically a cartoon in Cowboy Bebop. I think you might be fucking with me, but I'm unsure. Thank you, Mr. Sir, for silencing the mouse. Alright. So, Studio Bones, I mean, they're gonna be our first day. They're gonna be first day. The 300 is the default. I am sorry. It's okay. He'll be back in a minute. It was a friendly banning, Mice Man. I respect your opinions. I just don't like them. And this is my stream, god damn it. I'm a man of peace, but I'm willing to make an exception for Mice Man. The theme was a bebop, though. Yes, it was Ventus. So that's Studio Bones. Moving on to Brainspace. Let's go to Brainspace. What have Brainspace made? I know a couple things that Brainspace have made. So, the main thing that I know about Brainspace is that I cannot remember the name of the studio, but part of their staff had so much fun working on Do-Da-Da-Da that when Brainspace stopped working on Do-Da-Da-Da, part of their staff broke off from the studio to go specifically make more Do-Da-Da-Da. And that's great. That's great. So, Brainspace have done a couple of pretty big things. They did all of the Natsume and Friends stuff. They did Bakano, which is a masterpiece. I still haven't seen it. I really need to. I just haven't yet. They did Spice and Wolf, which I watched recently, and I watched it so that I could include Brainspace because I hadn't watched enough stuff by them. And obviously they've done Do-Da-Da-Da, which is a great fucking show. A huge inspiration for me in particular. Inspired Edie Valley in large part. Edie Valley very inspired by Do-Da-Da-Da because I was watching Do-Da-Da-Da when I first started writing Edie Valley. They also did Penguin Drum, which is a great show as well, which I haven't seen yet, but I've been told was great. This one is apparently good. I don't remember which one it is, but it's apparently good. Yeah, so they've done a couple of really good shows, and they in particular are kind of known for how well they adapt light novels. Light novels are really, really difficult. Don't forget they made Akikon. What's Akikon? I do not know, which is garbage. What's Akikon? Let me look up Akikon. No, don't bring that up. Let me look up Akikon. Akikon is a Japanese light novel series about a group of anthropomorphic soda cans who do battle. Well, that's hilarious garbage. Hedgehog top 3 anime. Cannot choose. There's too much anime. Anime is not a genre. It's a medium. It's hard to pick 3. What did Mice Man say to me? Free me. You will be freed soon, my friend. I promise. So anyway, wildly off track. Brainspace are largely known for how well they adapt light novels. So, 3 of their most famous shows, Bakano, Spice and Wolf, and Do-Da-Da-Da, are all light novels. And light novels are very hard to adapt. Gerbil, you should actually watch Do-Da-Da-Da and Bakano. I think you'd like them. I don't know if Spice and Wolf would be so much up your alley, but definitely the latter, definitely the former two, because they're written by the same guy, and they're very, 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 very good. If you like Edie Valley, you'll like Do-Da-Da-Da. Absolutely. That's fair. Bakano is licensing purgatory, and I regret not picking up a physical copy when I had the chance. Rest in peace. Light novels are very hard to adapt because they're basically the Japanese equivalent of young adult fiction. So unlike most manga, which have pictures, they basically are essentially a storyboard laid out for you to follow if you so desire. Light novels are just books. So, and oftentimes the light novel industry is very, I don't want to say pretentious because that's not the right word, but back when Spice and Wolf came out, back when Baccano came out, back when Doo-da-da-da came out, the light novel industry was a little more up its own ass. It was a little more of an experimental medium than it is now. Now it's mostly just trash. But back then, it was a little more experimental. So there were a lot of light novels full of very long conversations, very philosophical conversations between characters, and not a lot of stuff actually happening. So Brains Base figured out a way to translate that into interesting anime. And to them, I tip my hat. They're not the highest quality studio, however. Their animation is relatively decent. They pulled out some decent stuff and but they're not really known for their graphical fidelity. They do have a particular style that they go for, and they do that style very well. But they're not all that, like, I guess, inspired. Like, they're not like a Studio Bones where you look at their work and you go, oh, it's so good, it's so fluid, it moves. They're not that. But still a really solid B-tier studio, honestly. Really solid B-tier. And now we move on to the moment I've been waiting for. Now we get to talk about David Productions. The reason David Productions is on this list is because JoJo is technically 6 different anime. Let's bring up David Productions. Largely, I will be judging David Productions on JoJo because I have seen all of JoJo, and if you look, JoJo is the top 8 entries of things they've made. I keep trying to find do thing, but I have no idea what it is or where to find it. Gerbil. Here, I'm gonna type in the chat for you. You can find it on Crunchyroll. You can find it on Hulu, I believe. It's on Hulu. And you can also find it at your local pirate ship. Arg! I like 9 anime, but you do you. Yeah, they have made other things. They also made the Spei Kishibe Rohan, which is a great show. The other thing they're really well known for is Cells at Work. Cells at Work is the other big one that they've done. And they've done quite a few things actually, but largely they're the JoJo guys. They've spent the last 10 years essentially being the JoJo guys. I thought she was having a stroke too. Thanks, Hedge. Yeah, no problem, Gerbil. I hope you like it. So a lot of what I'm going to be talking about is about JoJo. I have seen some Cells at Work. I haven't seen the whole thing. Cells at Work didn't actually impress me all that much. It was cute though. Yeah, like Mr. Sir said, it was cute. Oh, that's them? Fair enough. Thus spoke Kishibe Rohan is just JoJo again. Yes, but it's a spin-off of JoJo. It's very different. So David Productions, there's a reason that JoJo became so popular in the West, and it's because of David Productions. Before the JoJo animes came along, JoJo was still very big in Japan, was not very big in America or in the English-speaking world. They did Fire Force, yes. That one I've heard some mixed things about, but I think that has more to do with the source material than David Productions as a studio. What was I saying? Yeah, the reason that it's so big in the West is because David Production brought JoJo to anime. To reference, JoJo is still actively being translated into English. They're only on part 5. They're only coming out with part 5 in English officially right now because JoJo wasn't big enough until the anime came out in the West to have them translate it. Because it's kind of bizarre, frankly. I think Fire Force had a lot of Soul Eater staff as well. Fire Force, the manga was originally by the guy who wrote Soul Eater, so that makes sense. You're freed, Mice Man. You're free. You're free. You can return now. Just don't state any more bad anime opinions and you'll be free forever. Ban him again. No, I'm not banning him again. I'm not banning him unless he says another one of my favorite anime is bad. So I shouldn't have sat on that couch. So JoJo, the anime, is inspired in a couple of different ways. One of the things that it's known for is the fact that, like the manga that had all of these color images that Araki did, I don't think there is an after JoJo. If by kind of bizarre you mean kind of awful, then yes. Madam? Time out gerbil for me. I don't know if you can do that, but time out gerbil for me. So I didn't say it was bad, but let's move on. JoJo goes hard. JoJo goes very hard. Araki made all of these like color illustrations as promos for JoJo, and he did them all in very different colors. The JoJo characters don't have a color palette essentially. They just have a. I wish I could. But they have like their colors change constantly, and David Production took that and ran with it. So like JoJo doesn't have a color palette. Like, they have a basic color palette that they'll go back to occasionally, just to, reestablish. But the colors in JoJo are fucking phenomenal and vibrant and crazy, because they just don't have a static color palette. And also, JoJo's great because if you look at the David Productions anime, JoJo doesn't actually have that much animation. It's actually a lot of still frames, but they keep up the energy so well, and they keep cutting to different shots so quickly. Even if the individual shots don't move all that much, they cut to them so frequently, so vividly, and the colors are so vivid, and the way they pose the characters. I mean, obviously that's because Araki did it that way, but the way they keep true to the posing of the characters, the way they keep true to the original style and flair of JoJo, and how they translate the energy of the original so well to animation, just makes it incredible. David Production was very, very smart in how they animated JoJo. That being said, mostly all they've done is JoJo, and everything else they've done that's not JoJo is not necessarily great. You can tell they've put all their effort into JoJo. Plus all the characters are hot. In JoJo, of course, everybody's hot in JoJo. Dude, I'm so attracted to Jolene. I'm not even gay, and I'm attracted to Jolene. David Production, as much as I like JoJo, this is a tier list of the studios, not of JoJo. I'm gonna put him in B. I think that's reasonable. Hit the JoJo pose? Okay, hold on. Hold on. You can't see me, I'm too tall. Let me boost this up so it's tall. There's one I can do. What's some of the other ones that they do? What's here? JoJo poses. Let's see. What do we got? Oh, we've got this one. Hold on, I'm doing the legs wrong. We got this one. What else have we got? Let's try a really difficult one. Let's see. We've got the Joseph. We've got the Joseph. Oh yeah, here's the one. Ow, my feet! I'm trying to do the Dio. Ow, that hurts. How is he standing on tiptoes like that? Yikes. Oh Lord, she posing. Okay, I'll get back to normal. Okay. Okay. Right. Anyway, where were we? We were moving on to Studio Dean. Oh, Studio Dean. There is no Umineko adaptation. Now, keep in mind, Studio Dean have done some decent shows. Studio Dean did Konosuba. The only reason Konosuba works, though, is because the horrible animation makes it funnier. Ban Mice Man 2023 asked when Spice and Wolf Season 2. I'm sorry, I probably missed that. Never. It's been 15 years, and it's owned by Aniplex. If they did it, it'd be A1. Studio hasn't done some, the only reason Konosuba works is because the animation is supposed to be bad, and that's kind of the joke. Higurashi, they did a pretty good adaptation of Higurashi. I've heard Hellgirl isn't bad. I guess they did Ranma 1/2 and the original Urusei Yatsura. They did not do Sailor Moon. That's not true. Some of these works are probably stuff they helped on as well, because Studio Dean helps on a lot of works, and they didn't differentiate on Mal what they just helped on and what they did. Here, let me actually make you see it. So a lot of these they probably didn't actually animate themselves. They probably helped upon. Studio Dean just does, I guess, okay, there is one thing they did. They did do Hetalia. But the reason I like Hetalia is because the English dub is great. They made Pupa. Yeah, they made Pupa. Dean is kind of the studio that's like where anime goes to die. They did the original Fate Stay Night movie. Or not movie, the original Fate Stay Night show. Yeah, which is the, where the infamous people die when they are killed bit comes from. I have an emotional connection to Ranma, and it makes me obliged to give them an A. That's fair. I don't know. Studio D might have just helped on Ranma. Let me Ranma 1/2, because it doesn't feel right that Dean did it. I thought it was somebody else that did it. No, it was Dean. Okay, it was Dean. It was Dean. Bro, Pupa is better than like half the anime Hedgehog praised this stream. What the fuck? So Dean is kind of known as the studio where anime go to die. They get a lot of second seasons of stuff that was done by better studios. We don't talk about the Umeneko adaptation, but specifically they ruined Log Horizon, and they only made one thing for Fate and nothing else, and Fate is massive. Yeah, they ruined Log Horizon, and I'm upset. I'm so very upset. Dean's just not, their animation is just not good. Like, their art style is not good. Their aesthetics are not good. Even their voice acting is often not good. So, listen, guys, I don't have much more to say. Dean goes in D. D for Dean. Have we done Studio Jam? No. I don't think that's the studio. Rip Log Horizon. If only Satelight had gotten the rest of the show, it would have been at least decent. Next, we're moving on to Gainax. So Gainax is a weird one because Gainax used to be huge, and I mean huge. They made Evangelion. They made Neon Genesis Evangelion. They made a lot of other stuff. Let's look at what they made. I can name a bunch off the top of my head, but let's look at what they made. But did they make Carnival Phantasm? They did not make Carnival Phantasm. They made, obviously, Tengen Gurren Lagann, one of the most famous anime in the world, one of the best anime in the world, one of my favorites, absolutely. They made all the original Neon Genesis Evangelion. They made Fooly Cooly. They made Panty and Stocking. They made Kanojo no Jijo. They made Nadia of the Blue Water. They did a bunch of fucking, they made Madaka Box. They did a bunch of fucking great stuff. They did a bunch of really good stuff. And they haven't made a bunch of really great stuff in quite a while. Are you thinking of Pine Jam, Ventus? You might be thinking of Pine Jam. Pine Jam is a studio. We're going to sort by newest. So, as you can see, they haven't done much recently. What's Suna no Akari? I don't even know what that is. Suna no Akari is the world's first 4K anime. That was in 2017. It got a 5.59. They made a bunch of mediocre horny bait shows. Yeah, and they're the Evangelion guys. Yep. Before that, they made Musume Denkansutto in 2016, which got a 5.73. They made Hokago no Pleiades, which got a 6.73 and was in 2015. Gainax is known for making a bunch of masterpieces. As Inquisitor Thomas says, basically everyone who was talented in Gainax left to form Studio Trigger. We will get to Studio Trigger later on. Yeah. So Gainax is responsible for a lot of the best shit in the world. Like a lot of huge anime classics. Evangelion is a fucking classic. Gurren Lagann is a classic. Fooly Cooly is a classic. You know, there's so many shows that are classic anime that Gainax made. But I'm listing all of their work as a whole. And Gainax, one of the last big things they really did, I think, was Panty and Stocking. Yeah, Panty and Stocking was like the last really big thing they did. Right there. So I have to take some points off because they've only made a little bit of shit recently. Not much. So if this tier list was made 10 years ago, would have put them right up an A. Would have put them right up an A. But this is now, so they go in B. I realize I've put a lot of anime studios in B at the moment. That's gonna change. That's gonna change pretty quickly. Nothing is as good as old-fashioned donation message. You geeks out to part with your money now. Hedgehog needs it more than you. It's true. I'm starving. I need your funds. What is this studio? What is this studio? I don't want to help you make avocado toast. Gallop. This studio Gallop. I have them on this list for a reason. I don't want newest. I want score. Oh, I know why I have them on this list. They're the guys that made Yu-Gi-Oh! I put Studio Gallop on this list specifically and only because they made Yu-Gi-Oh! And I have seen all of Yu-Gi-Oh! Not all of Yu-Gi-Oh! I have seen the entirety of the original series. I've seen more than half of GX before I had to drop it because it was utter trash. And I've seen all of 5Ds. And yeah, those are the ones they've made. I believe they handed off. No, they did Zexal too, it looks like. They did Zexal. They did. Never mind. They've done all of Yu-Gi-Oh! They have done all of Yu-Gi-Oh! And Yu-Gi-Oh! is listen, I love Yu-Gi-Oh! I love Yu-Gi-Oh! So much. I love Yu-Gi-Oh! More than anything. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is kind of shit. But it's not as bad as Studio Dean. C tier. Alright, Gonzo. Let's go with Gonzo. Let's go with Studio Gonzo. What did Gonzo make? I know they've made a couple good things I've seen. They did Welcome to the NHK, which I haven't seen, but I've heard is a masterpiece. They made Gankatsuo, which I have seen, which is an adaptation of The Count of Monte Cristo, which is very good and very pretty and very gorgeous. They make Kaleido Star. They did Full Metal Panic. They did the Afro Samurai movie, it looks like. They've done a couple of really good things. I admit that I probably haven't seen. They did Speedgraph, or a couple of things that I've heard of. Haven't really seen all that much of. Admittingly, I probably shouldn't have put them on this list because I haven't actually seen all that much stuff they've done. But I did want to mention them at the very least because Gankatsuo is beautiful and gorgeous, and I loved it. And there's good animation, at least 2 of the series, and only for select episodes. Yeah. Bokurano is good. Bokurano. Where's Bokurano? Bokurano. Cool. I'll have to give it a look. They've done some reasonable stuff. Gankatsuo and NHK are both highly, highly regarded shows. Again, admittingly, I probably shouldn't have put them in this list, but I'll give them a B because they're all like Gainax, so they haven't really done much recently. I think they might have gone bankrupt at some point. Production IG. Production IG are known for a couple of things. Couple of really good things that I have definitely seen. The reason they have so many credits is because more than anything, Production IG helps other studios on a lot of anime. So I'm really going to have to weed through these to tell you which ones they actually did, because it's going to show Attack on Titan. Production IG did not make Attack on Titan. Production IG helped animate Attack on Titan. And I will take that into account. All of the various shows that they have helped with is immense. All of Attack on Titan, Vinland Saga, Haikyuu, Neon Genesis Evangelion, more Haikyuu. They did Aria the Animation. They helped on more Attack on Titan. The one that I know that they've made that's on this list is Psycho Pass. Actually, no, I think Production IG did just do Haikyuu. They did Haikyuu. Yeah, they did Haikyuu themselves. They've done Haikyuu. They've done Psycho Pass. They've done Kuroko no Basuke. They did not do Great Pretender. They helped on Great Pretender. So they're known for a couple of shows. They're also known for, where is it? I'm trying to find it. They've helped on so much shit. It's really hard to find what I'm looking for, because I can't remember the name of it. So they've done some really good things. They've done Haikyuu. They've done Psycho Pass. Oh, goodbye, Tem. Yeah, it's a little late for you. Thanks for stopping by, man. I appreciate it. Have a great evening. Thank you for showing up. We love your presence. We hope to see you more. And thanks for being in the comments of all the new videos. It really means a lot. Have a great night, man. They've done some really good stuff. Psycho Pass is a masterpiece of cyberpunk fiction. Haikyuu and Kuroko no Basuke are both highly well-regarded sports shows that people really like. But Production IG have also done some not great stuff. I cannot remember its name. What is the show? Production IG shows. I want to look at the actual shows they made. Television series. Where is it? I'll recognize it when I see it. Guilty Crown. They did Guilty Crown, which is, yo, is that my favorite anime? Kuroko no Basuke, last game. They did Guilty Crown, which apparently wasn't great. They've also done the second season of Psycho Pass somewhere in here, which was also really not great. They have a tendency to do really, really well on adaptations of other works. They had a weird fluke with Psycho Pass where they did really, really well on an original work. Most of the time when they do original stuff, it's not necessarily great. Often they fumble on their stories and their worlds. I don't know who they got to do Psycho Pass. I think, I remember. Genro Ibuchi wrote Psycho Pass. That's why Psycho Pass is so good. Every time that they try to kind of do something original on their own, they did Joker Game, which wasn't the greatest. Their animation is very, very good. They have very, very good animation. A lot of times they falter on their stories. Their stories often fall short. Their characterizations are often weird and disjointed. A lot of their plots sometimes don't make sense or are kind of just at the climax. Ken or Butcher, yes. So while Production IG has a lot of good qualities to it, again, this is like one of the last ones I think that I am gonna have to stick and be. Studio Bones reigns alone in A tier. So far, Studio Bones reigns alone. The Jonklers game. Let's move on to JC Staff. JC Staff have done a couple of really good shows. JC Staff. Wait, they did Konosuba. I thought Dean did Konosuba. Did they do a season of Konosuba? They did the movie. They did the Konosuba movie. That explains it. Okay. They did a couple of good things. They've done, I want to sort by members. They did Toradora. They did, is it wrong to pick up girls in a dungeon? I do have a question. Is it wrong to pick up girls in a dungeon? I honestly have this question. The best part about it is that my friends and I at work, my coworkers, since we stock a lot of manga, we will put away the is it wrong to pick up girls in a dungeon manga, and we'll look at each other and go, so I have a question. Is it wrong to pick up girls in a dungeon? And we'll just ask each other these things. It's great. That's because too much of a coward represents the brilliance of Dean. It's true. JC Staff does some good things. They did Food Wars. I guess they did Golden Time. They did Food Wars. They did Shimonetta, which is not bad. They did Food Wars. They did Food Wars. They also did Food Wars. And even Food Wars isn't great at the end. Even Food Wars kind of falters at the end. They've done some okay stuff. I like Food Wars a lot. They've done stuff like Magical Index. Shimonetta is a pretty good show, but Shimonetta really did it for me because of the English voice acting more so than the animation. Again, can I adjust that a little bit? Yeah, it's illegal to pick up girls in Dungeon 11 states. Damn. JC Staff, for the most part, are kind of middle of the road studio. They don't really have a great, they did High School Girl. They don't really have like a great style of their own. As you can see, most of their shows either take their styles from their source material or just kind of have pretty generically bland anime look to them. They also do a lot of really like low quality shows. They did fucking Heavy Object, for instance. You know, while they have a couple of good properties, I'm making you not watch again. While they have a couple of good properties, they've got Food Wars, they've got Toradora, which is pretty good. Dungeon Mesh, not Dungeon Mesh, Picking Up Girls in Dungeon is not a good show. Saki K is not a good show. Golden Time's a pretty good show. Prison School, some people like it. It's not a good show. This is a pretty generic show. I wanted to like this show a lot. I tried to watch it because it was based on an RPG Maker horror game. Not a great show. Also, they ruined the second season of One Punch Man. They did the bad season of One Punch Man, as Madam just said. They did the bad season of One Punch Man. So yeah, JC Staff's going in C. JC Staff's going in C. Yep. Kinema Citrus. Let's look at Kinema Citrus. It could be Cinema Citrus. I don't know. So immediately looking a little better, because Cinema Citrus has done one of my favorite animes of all time, Made in Abyss. Made in Abyss is a masterpiece. It is a masterpiece. Cinema Citrus took that show and they, took the manga and they made it even better. They really took what the manga did and took it to new heights. Made in Abyss is awesome. Made in Abyss is fantastic. Great pick. Ballsy pick for a studio, because Made in Abyss is way out there. Ballsy pick. I actually didn't mind Black Bullet. I actually watched Black Bullet. I don't know why I decided to watch a show about a grown-ass man with a harem of small children. I think I wanted to for the meme, and then I actually didn't mind it all that much. Made in Abyss makes my everything hurt. It's true. As much as I'm personally not a huge fan of like isekai shows, Shield Hero is actually pretty good. From what I've heard, it does some really interesting things with its world, with its characters especially, and the animation quality is really, really good in Shield Hero. Same can be said with Black Bullet. Obviously, same can be said with Made in Abyss. Brockmon I haven't seen, but apparently it's very good. They've done a lot of Made in Abyss, obviously. They were some of the people who did some of the Star Wars Visions stuff. They haven't done like a whole ton of big stuff, but the big stuff that they have done has been very, very good. Mother, will you please stop messaging me? I love you, but please. Honestly, just for Made in Abyss, I think I have to put them on S tier. But also, the other two shows I've seen by them are very, very good too. So, Cinema Citrus gets our second A. Cinema Citrus gets our second A. Now, do forgive me for a second. Clearly, my mother really needs me for something. I'll be right back. Sorry about that. I'm back. It's a good show if you can overlook the overwhelming wall that is the slavery. It's true. 100% true. Put mom on the air. She has a hot take on an anime studio. You're tiered. That's definitely why my mother was texting me. Absolutely why. All right, so we're moving on to Kyoto Animation. Now this is where all the S tier studios start coming in. Heg is taught, and we have killed her. How can we comfort ourselves, the murderers of all murderers? Gerbil scatter! All right, let's look up Kyoto. Where is Kyoto? Oh yeah, Kyoto's the other one that's not on this list for some reason. Kyoto Animation. If I can, I'm really glad you got animation. I'm really glad you guys can't see what I'm typing, because yeah, that was embarrassing. Okay. KyoAni! What? I mean, what can I say about KyoAni? They did fucking A Silent Voice. They did Violet Evergarden. They did fucking Clannad. They did Hyoka. They did Kara no Kanata. They did fucking Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. Kobayashi's Dragon Maid alone would put it in S tier. Not only that, they did Chunibyo. They did K-On! They did Haruhi Suzumiya. They did Nichijou. They did fucking Free. They did Free. I haven't seen Free, but it's like they did Maki Brilliant Park. Everything the studio touches, fucking Hibike Euphonium. Everything the studio touches turns to fucking gold. KyoAni is great. KyoAni is fucking awesome. Also, they've done a lot of visual novel adaptations. Mostly key ones. They've done Air. They did Clannad. I believe they've done one other somewhere in here. So I know them for that a lot. But KyoAni are great. They're masters of the cute girls doing cute things genre. But they've also done cute boys doing cute things with like Free and like one or two other shows. Okay, Dragon Maid really drags the score, but still an A surely. Listen, Dragon Maid's great. I don't like boob shows, and Dragon Maid's great, okay? But the best thing, I mean, so like their animation, top quality animation. They have the cutest shots. Like, again, I don't like cute girls doing cute things shows, but they have like the cutest fucking shots of girls doing cute things, of just how they move and how they wiggle and how their hair moves around. It's so fucking cute. Their aesthetics are on point. You can always tell it's a KyoAni show. KyoAni shows have this very specific style to them, even when they're kind of adapting something else. Like, they have this very specific style, and you can kind of see it. KyoAni looks very much like Kyokai no Kanata, looks very much like Hyoka, looks very much like what's the other Tamako Market, looks very much like Hibike Euphonium, but it's not like a typical anime style. It's KyoAni's style. It's very unique. It's very much their own. My favorite of their shows is Violet Evergarden. Fucking Violet Evergarden made me sob repeatedly multiple times. I fucking love Violet Evergarden so much. It's a great anime. Holy shit, it looks incredible. Looks fucking incredible. KyoAni does a great job. And you know why they do a great job? Because they are infamous for treating their employees fantastically. If you want to work in the anime industry, you want to work for KyoAni. They have like some of the best benefits in the industry. They give their employees a lot of time off. They really schedule very well. They only focus on like one show at a time and do a really good job at really producing that show really well and making it the best they can, instead of trying to like plow out like 3 shows a season like A1 does sometimes. They give their employees ample rest. They give their employees lots of benefits. You want to work for KyoAni. You want to work for KyoAni. KyoAni is fantastic. So, I mean, what else is there to say? KyoAni is going straight up an A. KyoAni is going straight up an A. Studio Lurch. I like Studio Lurch. Studio Lurch is known for a couple of particular things. I believe they're under the studios. Where's Lurch? I'll do the fucking... They're under just Lurch. Cool. I did it. Are you happy, madam? Studio Lurch primarily are known for Assassination Classroom. That's their big one. Like, Assassination Classroom is fucking great. I love Assassination Classroom. They also did Danganronpa. They also did Monster Musume, for those of you who are cultured out there. I'm not. I haven't seen it. They also did Domestic Girlfriend, which is apparently the greatest trash ever made. And also, they've done one of my favorite animes. Technically, it's my favorite manga, but one of my favorite animes. They did Toilet Bound Hanako-kun. I fucking adore Toilet Bound Hanako-kun. I'm gonna make a video about it at some point because it's just great. It's fucking great. And Lurch have this thing that they do, which I love a lot. They also do Carnival Phantasm. Lurch does this thing that I love a lot, where for the most part, their shows look pretty ordinary. They look like a typical anime show. You know, they do a lot of Shota boys. They're really good at animating Shota boys. Maybe that's why I like them so much. They did Top Snack anime. But for the most part, their anime just kind of normal. Looks kind of decent. Looks kind of normal. And then all of a sudden, they'll pull a fucking weird-ass, goddamn, mind-trippy montage on you from out of fucking nowhere. And you go, what just happened? Where was this? Where did this come from? What? So I really like Lurch. But also, they've made some rough decisions in some of their other anime they've made. They did not Spy Classroom. What is High School of the Elite? Yeah, High School of the Elite, which is not great. A lot of people have a lot of mixed things to say about the Danganronpa animes, in general. And besides those couple of big properties, they haven't, they did Magical Girl Raising Project, which I wasn't really a fan of. And again, even though they do have those moments of brilliance where they just pull out all the fucking stops and do something really crazy and cool and weird, that doesn't come out a lot. I think they could do more with it, essentially. So, I'm not going to put Lurch in A tier, even though I would like to. I am going to put him in B. Lurch goes to B. Madhouse. Studio Madhouse. Here we go. Madhouse. Bada bing, bada boom. With Madhouse, I'm not gonna say anything. I'm just gonna scroll. I'm sure all of you have recognized at least one anime on this list. I'm sure a lot of you have recognized a lot of anime on this list. And that's because Madhouse don't miss. Madhouse, I always think of in my brain as like a pair with Studio Bones. Because Studio Bones is primarily known for their straightforward shonen anime. Every once in a while, they'll branch into something else, do something a little different. This one really speaks for itself. Yes, it does. Madhouse is known for doing weird off-the-wall shit, but every once in a while, it will do a shonen anime like Hunter x Hunter, and you go, what? Why is this so good? But Madhouse has done some of my favorite shows ever. Death Note, I haven't quite actually finished Death Note, but Death Note, they did the good season of One Punch Man. The reason why season 2 sucked so much is because season 1 was so great, and it's because Madhouse did it. No Game No Life. Again, I don't usually watch like kind of ecchi pervy shows. No Game No Life is fantastic. Hunter x Hunter is a fantastic show. Rose Ariana earlier asked what my top 3 favorite anime were. I can't name all of them. Death Parade is one of them. Death Parade is one of my favorite anime, maybe even my favorite anime of all time. If you haven't seen Death Parade, go see Death Parade. Please go see Death Parade. Just watch it. I don't care where you watch it. It's on Crunchyroll. It's on... Might be on Hulu. You have to double check that. It's on your favorite pirate ship. I don't care how you watch it. Just watch it. Watch it. High School of the Dead is apparently very good. Again, I don't usually watch ecchi shows, so I haven't really seen it, but it's apparently very good despite that. Overlord, one of the best isekais ever made. Monster, a certified classic. Black Lagoon, a certified classic. They did the best episodes of Hellsing Ultimate. They did Batum. They did fucking Wolf Children. They did Trigun. They did Claymore, Ori Monogatari, fucking Perfect Blue, Nana, Hajime no Ippo, Summer Wars, Paprika, fucking, what happened? Chobits. What haven't they done? They've Cardcaptor Sakura. They did fucking Cardcaptor Sakura. They've done everything. They've done everything. So, it's A. It's A. I don't know how to say it. It's A. Next, we move on to Studio Mappa. So I have a couple of things to say about Mappa, because in any other list, Studio Mappa would be on A. 100%. Studio Mappa is top of the industry when it comes to animation, when it comes to aesthetics, when it comes to a lot of things. Hello, Club Dreamiverse, welcome. However, I have a couple of very specific problems with Studio Mappa. One of them, I'm gonna go over the one that's really petty and weird first, which is just a me problem. Today is going terribly because I'm being exposed to Hedgehog's bad anime taste. It's very true. So one of the really just petty weird things that I don't like about Mappa, and so now they've taken on 2 shows that Wit did the first seasons of, or Studio Wit did some of the beginning of, most famously Attack on Titan, also Vinland Saga. Let's see if I can get some good images. Let's see if I can get some good images that are comparing them. I'm not getting good images of comparing the two. I'm gonna have to look them up myself. So, here's a good example, I think. Oh, here's a perfect example, because this is a direct comparison. So, you can look here at, I'm gonna resize this so we can see it a little better. No, that's not what I wanted. That's not what I wanted. So you can see here a little bit. I'm gonna have to move this image around so you guys can see it properly. I don't see why people care for the AOT better than the live action movie. Looks so much better. If you say newest AOT looks bad, I will scream. I'm sorry, Mr. Sir. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna say it looks bad, because it's not. The new one isn't bad, but if you just look at the differences between these two styles, Mappa's style looks very much like, for lack of a better word, an anime. It looks like an anime. Studio Wit's looks very unique and very individual. And I really, really like that. Studio Wit took a lot of inspiration from the original manga. You can see that in how thick all of their outlines are. How thick their outlines are. But, like, even looking at Aaron's mom's hair, looking at Aaron's hair here, like, all of the outside lines for the characters are very, very thick. And their eye shapes are very appealing. And it's a very unique style. It's almost a little bit painterly in some of the ways the lines move. It's very smooth looking. Mappa's, on the other hand, is very, very scraggly. It's very, just kind of less simple, less nice. This is just a personal opinion of mine. This has nothing to do with any actual anime taste. I prefer Wit's style of Attack on Titan much better than Mappa's. I just think it looks better. I hate how thin Mappa makes the outlines, because the outlines look so much better and so much cooler when they were very thick. And Mom's hairstyle is slightly altered in the new version 0 out of 10. And yeah, and just they made the outside lines really, really thin, and it just doesn't really necessarily look like Attack on Titan anymore. I don't know. It's not bad. Don't worry, Mr. I don't think it's bad. It's just I like Wit's better. Is basically what I'm trying to say, is that I like Wit's better, ultimately. So there's that. But that's mostly just me being petty and weird. Mappa has the uncanny valley look to me. It just doesn't feel. Yeah, I've always felt that it just looks a little bit off than what it should look like. They also just took over Vinland Saga recently, and I kind of feel the same way, that Wit did a very particular, interesting style for Vinland Saga, very based on the manga, and Mappa kind of makes it look a little more like a generic anime. Wanna relentlessly ridicule Hedgehog's bad take? If you make a small donation now, your roast messages will appear on stream. It's true. Do it, and I will read it. I will read your shit take, and I will cry. But there's two big problems about Mappa that are actually more objective, that actually do kind of bug me. Number one is their use of CGI. Now, I'm not saying that the use of CGI in anime is bad, by any means, because it's not. I'm going to talk about two different studios later on who utilize CGI very, very well in their anime. So my problem isn't that Mappa uses CGI, it's how they use it. So these other studios that I'm going to talk about, often they use CGI to enhance their anime. So when they're doing really big moving shots, they'll CG in the background, which is all blurry already because it's moving, so that they can focus on the 2D animation in the front, so that the character can be extra animated while the background just zips by, and then they don't have to worry about drawing 50 frames of a background to go along with the animation. Which is a very, very clever way to save a lot of effort. And looks very, very good, because it's way harder to tell that a background is 3D than it is to tell that a character in front of the screen is 3D. I only really notice this when I'm actually looking for it. Mappa, on the other hand, likes to do some of their big action scenes. She's talking about Fate. But also, you'll see later. Mappa likes to make a lot of their big action scenes in CG. And I think that's a mistake. I think that is a mistake. Because I feel the same way about CG in anime that I do in... Sorry, I gotta adjust myself. That I do in live action. So in live action, if you have practical effects, and you have a monster or whatever, and you're doing it largely in practical effects, but you're using CGI to enhance that monster, to make it a little scarier. So, like, a lot of the stuff that Guillermo del Toro does with his monsters, where they are real, but he uses certain elements to enhance them, to make them a little more CGI. Yeah, like Mr. Sir says, Mappa takes shortcuts with CGI. So, specifically, I'm going to take two big shows that Mappa has done, which are ones that I've seen fairly recently. I've seen a lot of Mappa shows. I actually really do like Mappa a lot as a studio. I do follow them pretty closely. Hayao Miyazaki said, anime has gone downhill ever since Steamboat Willie. It's almost disappointing as my son, who is currently crying in the corner. Rest in peace, Hayao Miyazaki's son. Anime was a mistake. Hayao Miyazaki is a terrible human being. So Attack on Titan, the final season. I'm sorry I'm making fun of Mappa so much. They did a really... I don't want to discredit them. They did a very, very good job with the final season of Attack on Titan. Not as good as Wit, spoiler. They did a very good job with the new season of Attack on Titan. But they, instead of, animating a lot of the Titan fights in 2D, like Wit did, they use CGI. And the problem is that if a product is entirely CGI, so like Studio Orange is a studio known for just making CGI anime. They just make their anime entirely in CGI. I don't have them on this list because I haven't seen any of their stuff yet. I've been meaning to watch Land of the Lusters. I've been meaning to watch the new Trigun, but I want to watch the original Trigun first. They're entirely in 3D, in CGI. So it doesn't look weird. It looks natural. It looks normal. It looks fine. It looks great. Actually, fantastic even sometimes. But when you do have a 2D anime, and all of a sudden you insert 3D CGI, like you replace the existing art of the character with a CGI model, it looks weird. And it looks disjointed, and it looks unnatural. And with the Titans, it wasn't necessarily bad, because they are so inhuman that it reads a little better, but it still doesn't look good. Like, Wits looks better. Wits just look better because they're in 2D. But the bigger example is Chainsaw Man. Now, a lot of people have degraded Chainsaw Man for its use of CGI. And I don't like to be like, I'm going to side with everybody else and say exactly what they say. But it's true. Now, Mappa CGI isn't bad. It's actually some of the best in the industry. The problem is, no matter how good it gets, it's just going to look unnatural when you've been used to looking at 2D characters. And they have this really bad habit of, at their most climactic moments, when they're having the most intense action sequences, when Denji pulls the chain and he gets a chainsaw for a head, they like to change him into a CGI model for those specifically Chainsaw Man sequences. Whenever he doesn't have the Chainsaw head, they do animate him normally, and it looks stunning and gorgeous, and holy shit, Chainsaw Man in general is a fucking gorgeous anime. It is constantly moving. There's so much movement in Chainsaw Man. But when your climactic moment is ruined for a lot of people because they can't not see that it's CG, I honestly would have, because I understand that if they had animated those sequences not in CG, they would have had to cut other shit out. We wouldn't have gotten as much movement. We wouldn't have gotten as much of the rest of the anime looking as good as it did. I'm willing to sacrifice a little bit of that quality to get those intense moments, because a lot of the climaxes aren't quite ruined, but they're almost ruined. They're almost ruined by the use of CG. I completely agree with your take on CG here. Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc V would frequently have its lead protagonist Ace Monster become CG during duels in the first season. Weird. The CG in Chainsaw Man looks great until you notice it in the action. The worst part is that it almost blends in. It's true, and that's what makes it the most uncanny, is that it almost blends in, but you can tell, and it's like, that doesn't look right. That's a really low frame rate. Now I'm really distracted. So that's one thing about Mappa. The other thing about Mappa is that now I can't, despise A1 for this and not mention it for Mappa. Because a lot of the allegations that came forward about A1 a bunch of years ago have kind of recently come forward about Mappa. Now, I don't believe that Mappa is a heartless corporation like Aniplex is. I truly don't believe that they are overworking their employees for money and profit. What I do believe, and this is entirely conjecture, I might be entirely wrong. What I do believe is that Mappa has really poor management skills. They seem to be gobbling up any major IP they can grab and get their hands on, and then I feel like it comes down to when it comes to air and they go, oh, shit, we have to release 2 shows this season. And with the great quality that they do, it's really, really hard to release that much show. So obviously, all of their employees get very, very overworked. There have been a lot of complaints about overwork. A lot of employees not going home for days at a time. That's not great. That's not great. I would much less have less output from Mappa and have it be good quality. I'd much rather have them be more like KyoAni. I think the rest of the industry should be like KyoAni. There's so much garbage anime coming out constantly every season that I wish more people would be like KyoAni. So that being said, Mappa, in any other case, would be put up in A tier. Its animation is better than Bones and Madhouse sometimes. Their anime look very, very good. Their anime read very, very good. Their storytelling is very, very good. Yuri on Ice is great. I don't care what you fucking say. I love Yuri on Ice. It's great. But I do have to put them in B because of those specific issues. Mostly because those specific issues personally bug me a lot. Yeah, garbage makes money, Hedge. Yeah, but it doesn't make as much money as inspired shit does. Especially in the anime industry. Harem shit will always sell, but Chainsaw Man sells better than harem shit. Alright. PA Works. So, PA Works have come out with a couple of shows recently. Oh, I guess I didn't show you guys what Mappa's done. Let me... I think they're under S for Studio. Studio Mappa, where are you? Mappa isn't... Okay, Mappa is a studio that isn't on here for whatever reason. Studio Mappa. There we go. Alright, let's just show you what they've done really quick. Because I forgot to... Oh! I just closed out my tab. That's not great. Mappa. There we go. And let's open back up my YouTube just to be safe. Yeah, it's all gone now. It's all gone. Let me reopen it back up. I don't want you guys to see the chat. There you go. That's better. There you go. That's better. let me go back to... There we go. Thanks, all 70 of you, for sticking around. I appreciate it. Shut up, madam. I don't do the key thing. I don't do it. I don't do it. Okay. So, Mappa. It's a couple I didn't mention. Jujutsu Kaisen. Fantastic anime. Haven't seen it yet. Fantastic. Kakegurui. One of the best anime ever. Seriously, one of the best anime ever made, ever produced. Kakegurui is fantastic. I love it. Zaku no Terror. Terror in Resonance. Oh, good night, Rosariana. Thanks for joining us. Terror in Resonance. Mwah! Beautiful. Fucking beautiful. Yuri on Ice. Actually, one of my favorite shows ever. Honestly, I really like the ice skating animation. I know, Mr. Sir, I'm not using keyboard shortcuts. No, I don't do that. Zombieland Saga. Really, really funny. Yashiki. Heard really interesting things about. Obviously they're doing Vinland Saga Season 2. Obviously they did the final season of Attack on Titan. They've done new Hajime no Ippo. Yeah, they've done a lot of really good stuff. They're a newer studio as well. They were founded in 2011. So they're a pretty new studio. All things considered. They're just over 10 years old. And they've done a lot of stuff in 10 years. Maybe too much stuff. But they've always put out really good quality shit. So, God of High School is great in the animation to come, but they cut out all the story. Yeah, I've heard that was slightly less great. But yeah, Mappa. There's Mappa. I closed out my tier list as well. Let me find it. I might have to put everything back to where it was. We'll see if it saved it. But what? Where's my tier list? Here, let me just let me make sure it doesn't need me to share any of my information. Sorry about that, guys. You know me. Okay. There it is. Cool. It's all good. We're all good. We're all good. All right, we're moving on to PA Works. PA Works. Let's do it. No. I wanted... All right, PA Works. PA Works also not on here. PA Works. There we are. Hedgehog, bad at tier list. It's true. I am. PA Works. PA Works have been around for 23 years now. They were founded in the year 2000. They have a couple of pretty big shows to their name. Angel Beats is a very, very popular show. Another, so this 1K is going swell, huh? Absolutely, DavCav, welcome. Another is a little bit controversial. Some people really like it, some people don't. I thought it was okay. They did Shirobako. They did, recently, they've done both, your boy Kongming, which is a great show. And they did, where is it? Akiba Maid Wars, which I recently watched. PA Works is a fave studio man. PA Works, I think is, and of course, Gerbil. Of course, Gerbil. They did Sakura Quest. So this is an automatic A tier from Gerbil. PA Works is a pretty good studio. They tend to make their best work tends to be shows that go a little that are a little different. So like Shirobako, for instance, is a show about making anime. You looked at it, you scrolled past it. I know. I came back to it. Shirobako is a show about making anime. And it follows anime studios and an anime studio, how they make anime. which is very interesting. Another is a straight up horror fiction story in a world of anime where there isn't a lot of traditional horror stories being told. Your boy Kongming is about a Chinese minister from the Romance of the Three Kingdoms days, coming to the modern day times and helping an idol achieve her dreams at stardom. And Akiba Maid Wars is a Yakuza movie, but starring maid cafes. So that's fun. A lot of their best shows, Sakura Quest, Gerbil will talk about Sakura Quest. Gerbil will talk about Sakura Quest for a second. I don't know much about it. Talk about Sakura Quest. A lot of their best shows are a little bit off the wall. They did a show about horse girls. Their shows are a little bit off the wall, a little bit kooky, a little bit funky. My only problem with PA Works is that sometimes I think they don't take their ideas far enough. I haven't seen Kongming yet, so I can't speak to it. Akiba Maid Wars is really funny, but I think they could have leaned a little further in the direction of parody than they did. Because with Akiba Maid Wars, they're still trying to toe the line with a serious story occasionally, or like a story about a maid cafe, and it would have been funnier and better if they'd just gone all the way into their idea and just gone whole hog into it. Same with Another. Another's got some really shocking moments, but also has a lot of, for lack of a better word, anime moments to it as well. Shirobako, again, same thing. It's a really good show, really interesting premise, still has a lot of anime moments in it. They don't go quite far enough to differentiate themselves and to make their anime special. So PA Works is also going in B. There's a lot of Bs. I realize there's a lot of Bs. There's more Bs than I thought there would be. I figured this whole list was just going to be crowded with As. So maybe I've been rating a little too hard. But next is Poirot. Poirot. Where's Poirot? There we go. Poirot. Now, I haven't actually seen a lot of things that Poirot have made, but Sakura Quest is an anime original slice of life series that focuses on life in a small agricultural town in Japan. Cool, colorful characters dealing with real issues, but with a little anime flair to it. I agree entirely with your take on Akiba Maid War ads, Mr. Sir. Absolutely. Yeah. That's another thing I'd like to make a maybe short video about at some point. I haven't quite finished Akiba Maid War, but I've gotten a very decent portion through it. So, Poirot. I haven't admittedly watched a lot of things that Poirot have made, but they're such an iconic anime studio, and I've watched enough videos and read enough about all of their works to kind of at least form an opinion. They're the guys that made Naruto. They're the guys that did Tokyo Ghoul. They did Bleach. They did Black Clover. They did fucking Yu Yu Hakusho. They did Twin Star Exorcists. They did Beelzebub, whatever the fuck that is. They did Platinum End though. Oh. Poirot have a lot of really, really big shonen shows. Poirot did Ghost Stories. Poirot was not responsible for the dub though, so I can't count that. They did Tokyo Mew Mew, for God's sake. Poirot were one of the big studios that did a lot of really, really classic, long-running anime. They were Toei's big competitor back in the day. Tokyo Ghoul is great until you get to the anime original part. I'm getting to that. Just read the manga. Yes. So, for their amount of iconic anime they have released, you have to give them props. Naruto Shippuden pulls out some fucking great-ass animation. Bleach pulls out some great-ass animation. Bleach's story goes way downhill, I've been told. But that's more, again, due to the source material than the actual adaptation itself. Tokyo Mew Mew is a shitty anime, but I fucking love it. I love Tokyo Mew. Tokyo Mew Mew, for those of you who don't know, was the first ever anime and the first ever manga that I ever read. Both of them, respectively, because I watched the anime and I loved it so much, and I realized that my local library had the manga in, so I read all of the manga too. And that's how I got into manga, and that's how I got into manga and anime, was Tokyo Mew Mew. Tokyo Mew Mew is my shit. That's why I like Magical Girl anime so much, because Tokyo Mew Mew. Obviously, they've done more modern stuff, like Black Clover, which is another, they just do another long form running anime. I mentioned hating the main character's voice actor in that already. I've heard he gets a little better as time goes on. They also did Tokyo Ghoul. Tokyo Ghoul, the anime is not actually bad, until they get to the original stuff. The original stuff is pretty bad, but the original season of Tokyo Ghoul, it's actually pretty decent. The animation is pretty decent. The aesthetics are pretty decent. There's a reason it was one of those shows that Tumblr really liked a lot for a while, because it's pretty good. It's pretty good. But most of Poirot's work is kind of generically anime, is what I'm gonna say. While they can pull out really good stuff, it's covered under so much schlock that it's kind of hard to find sometimes. You know, Tokyo Ghoul's the big one that I think is good. Black Clover's is okay. OG Naruto's just okay. Bleach is just okay. Boruto is apparently not great. Yu Yu Hakusho is a masterpiece, apparently. But like Twin Star Exorcist is just okay. Platinum End is not good. Ghost Stories was not good. The dub makes it good, but Ghost Stories was not good. Tokyo Mew Mew I like personally, but it's probably not good. Most of the stuff is just it's the OG Urusei Yatsura, I guess. But it's none of it's really great. They come out with a lot of stuff. They've come out with a lot of stuff. And to be fair, they're really old studios, so it makes sense. But none of it's, maybe except Yu Yu Hakusho and maybe a little bit of Tokyo Ghoul, none of it's really, really good. There's just a lot of garbage that I've never heard of before in my life. So honestly, as much as Poirot has been a lot of people's childhoods and has been my childhood to an extent as well, we're going to put Poirot in C. Poirot gets C. Next, moving on to Studio Satellite, maybe? Satellite? I don't know. I don't fucking know. Not a single Agatha Christie adaptation for a studio named Poirot. Trash tier. Very true. Very true. Studio Satellite, where are you? There you are. All right. Studio Satellite did Hellsing Ultimate Log Horizon. A tier. I'm kidding. As much as I love Log Horizon, it's not a great anime. It's just frankly not. What makes it succeed is how good its storytelling is, how good its world building is, and a lot of that comes from the light novel. I've read the first volume of the light novel. I haven't been able to get my hands on the rest of them, which is why I can't say more, but I've read the first volume of the light novel, and basically the anime is a 1-to-1 adaptation of it, with a couple of minor differences. The one thing the anime adds is that they take the time to kind of make some of those infographics actually infographics. Hellsing Ultimate, so for those who don't know, Hellsing Ultimate was 10 episodes, 45 minutes each, but the work was divided between 3 different studios. Satellite did, I can't remember whether they did the first bit or the last bit. I think they did the last bit. And Madhouse did the best episodes in the middle. Madhouse did the best episodes in the middle. Satellite did one of the other 2 sets. I think it was the last set, but maybe it was the first set. I don't quite know. The best ones are the Madhouse ones. And the rest are decent. Satellite has done White Album. It's the Love Alternative, which apparently was not great. It's done some shit stuff like Caligula. It hasn't done a lot besides Log Horizon and besides Hellsing Ultimate. Can we have a ban? No, we're not banning Hedgehog. No, you can't ban me. You can try, but you can't ban me. But they just haven't done a lot of good stuff. Again, it's like the same as Poirot. It's C. Now here we get to the good stuff. Studio Shaft. So, for me, there are 2 big influences for ED Valley specifically. There's Do Da Da Da, which I previously mentioned by Brainspace. But the other show that really influenced me a lot was Bakemonogatari by Studio Shaft. Studio Shaft are known for their weirdness. Studio Shaft is like the opposite of PA Works, where PA Works takes weird ideas and makes them anime. Shaft takes anime ideas and makes them weird. So Primarily, they're known for their adaptations of the Bakemonogatari series, which were penned by Nisio Oisin, and are just very strange and off the wall. My favorite show by them is, of course, Madoka Magica, which, like Psychopaths, was written by Gen the Butcher Urabuchi. And it started the whole wave of dark magical girl shows, because Mahou Shoujo Madoka Magica is a deconstruction of the magical girl genre, which is usually full of light, fluffy friendship, and it takes a lot of those genre concepts and a lot of those genre expectations and kind of flips them on their head and says, well, what if this was shit instead? And it makes one of the best shows in the world, in my opinion. Yeah. Madoka Magica is a spectacle. If you haven't seen Madoka Magica, even if you don't watch magical girl shows, just watch Madoka Magica. But even when they do something like Nisekoi, like a harem show, they do it fucking off the wall. They've done more masterpiece like stuff, like March Comes in Like a Lion. They did vocal light adaptations. They did Mekaku City Actors. I don't know how to pronounce that. They did the Kizamonogatari films look utterly phenomenal. Like, best animation I've ever seen. They've done Arakawa Under the Bridge. They did Sayonara Zetsubo Sensei. They did Dance of the Vampire Bund. They did some stuff for Fate. Studio's good when they've done stuff for Fate. I love them. I love their uniqueness. I love their weirdness. I love their insistence in a world of cute anime girls that, alright, if you want cute anime girls, fine, we'll give you cute anime girls, but they're gonna, like, twist their necks at, like, a 90-degree angle to talk to you about philosophy. I love Shaft for that. I love Shaft for that. Shaft's gotta be yes. They don't always work with the higher budgets. More recently they have, because of the success of both Madoka Magica and Monogatari. And for years and years they were more of an underground studio. They're great. I love Shaft. I love everything they do. They fit in very well with my philosophy of anime and of life. Right, moving on to Silverlink. There they are. So, what did Silverlink do? That's right. So, Silverlink is a very interesting studio, especially to talk about right after Studio Shaft, because Silverlink was formed from as an offshoot of Studio Shaft. So, bunch of people from Studio Shaft, one big director and a couple of other people, went off to form their own studio. So, Silverlink is known as a much more usual anime studio. They do a lot more usual stuff, but then every once in a while, they'll pull out, again, they're kind of like Lurch, where they'll, like, pull out something fucking weird. And you'd be like, where the fuck did this come from? But in specifics, it's a Shaftism. Akiyuki Shinbo is the main guy behind Studio Shaft, the main director, and he's had a lot of apprentices take after him specifically, and one of his apprentices went off to form Silverlink. So, even Chivalry of a Failed Knight, which is kind of just your generic harem show circa the mid-2010s when, like, fantasy high school harem shows were popular. This was right before isekais took over entirely of the light novel genre. They have this weird fucking sequence where the main character gets tortured, and it's bizarre. And the same thing happens in It's Your Guys' Fault I'm Not Popular, which is just a show that's just about an anime girl. She's just going about doing things, but all of a sudden she'll have these fucking weird-ass moments where she'll just flip her shit because she's incredibly socially awkward. Here, I want to show you the OP for It's Your Guys' Fault I'm Not Popular. Is this it? Let's see. Nope, that's the trailer. I don't want the trailer. I want the opening, please. It's an old show, but I would like to see the opening. Nope, that's the OST. Opening. Here we go. It's gonna be kind of pretty cool. I'm gonna get copyright struck. But the show is like that. It looks like that. It's a fucking 4-coma about a socially awkward high school girl, and it looks like that. Silverlink's good. They're not as good as Shaft. That's my one thing. They're a good studio. They're not as good as Studio Shaft. So they're also in B. I know the B's are going off the screen now. I'll give you a full view of the tier list when we're done. We're almost done though. Next is TNK. I included TNK for a very specific reason. Where's TNK? I know they're here. I know they're here. I wouldn't have found them otherwise. There we go. TNK! TNK did High School DxD. TNK did School Days. TNK did Redo of Healer. Yeah, this is the one I created the trash tier for. I created the trash tier for TNK. I'm not even gonna explain myself. If you know, you know. It's TNK. Toei Animation. Toei published a lot of stuff too, so that's why Evangelion's here. Toei, One Piece. Toei has Dragon Ball. Toei has World Trigger. Toei has Digimon. Toei has Sailor Moon. Sailor Moon is my big show. Fucking love Sailor Moon. They did Mononoke. They did really, really old original season 0 Yu-Gi-Oh! I believe they helped on some of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Shows. They did lots of Digimon. They've done Saint Seiya. Lots of Dragon Ball. Lots of One Piece. Lots of fucking Sailor Moon. They're the 90s guys. They're the guys that did all the big shows in the 90s. Every big show in the 90s was Toei. And then Poirot took over in the early 2000s. They're mass-produced. They're cheap commercial products. They're mostly used to sell toys. Maybe One Piece isn't so much anymore. But they're not Studio Dean, but they're, you know, they're C. That's a D. They're a C for me, dog. TNK. I can't believe it's not hentai. It's true. All right, but now we get to my. I think this might be one of my favorite anime studios. There's 2 on this list. We haven't gotten to the second one yet. We'll get to the second one almost last, if not last. I think it's last. It's last. Studio Trigger is one of my 2 favorite anime studios. I can't pick which one of them is my favorite because I like them for very different reasons. Studio Trigger is the most unique anime studio in the anime industry. They are primarily, like 3 Hertz, known for their original works. They have done adaptations occasionally. They very rarely do. If they do an adaptation of something, it's an original work set in the universe of whatever they're adapting. The one exception is that they are officially adapting Dungeon Meshi. They are adapting Delicious in Dungeon, one of my favorite manga in the world. We still don't have a release date for it. We don't have anything like that. But fucking, they're great. Studio Trigger's great. Let's see what Studio Trigger have done to illustrate to you. I think, are they under S for studio? They might be. There they are. Studio Trigger. So, obviously, no, I need my, thank you. The big one is Kill la Kill. That's the first thing they really ever released back in the early 2010s, after they were founded in 2011. Studio Trigger's Kill la Kill's the big one. The first big one they ever did. It's, wow. The only anime they've made that was ever any good was Little Witch Academia. Gerbil, go fuck yourself. Sincerely, go fuck yourself. I'm sorry, man. You're wrong. You're just wrong. Kill la Kill is a masterpiece. Like I've said several times, I'm not really a big fan of a lot of ecchi shows, but I love Kill la Kill. I think it's a great kind of a great kind of play on female sexuality and what it means to be confident in yourself and your body and your family and your friends. Kill la Kill's awesome. Like Mr. Sir said, Studio Trigger is an energy that is simply impossible to replicate. Their shows are wild. Their shows are crazy. Their shows are so much fun. Studio Trigger is also genius because while they do incredible animation, like a lot of the time, sometimes they use the smartest techniques to get around having to do animation. They do, if you look at a Studio Trigger show, you will see that they do a surprising amount of flash animation where they'll just have a still image that they just zoom across the screen. But it works. It works because they have this energy. Their shows move so much. They're constantly moving all the time. They never stop for a second because if they stop, I think they'll keel over from exhaustion. So, Kill la Kill, obviously, not you. Kiesniver is an underrated one. I really like Kiesniver a lot. Some people don't like it. I love Kiesniver. Little Witch Academia. Recently, Cyberpunk Edge Runners. Obviously, a great show. BNA. More Little Witch Academia. SSS's Gridman. Promare, which I haven't seen yet. Obviously, Space Patrol Luluco is fantastic. Inferno Cop is the greatest anime ever made. I'm sorry. If you have a different pick, you're incorrect. It's Inferno Cop. It's Inferno Cop. They're going to be doing new Panty and Stocking, obviously. They're going to be doing Dungeon Meshi in the future. I'm so fucking excited. Yeah, I've seen, of any of the studios here, I think I've seen the biggest proportion of work by Studio Trigger. They're great. They're wonderful. They're lovely. Every once in a while, they have a problem with their plots around the endings. Sometimes their plots don't always end the best because it feels like they have momentum, then all of a sudden it dies. And I don't know why it happens. But beyond that, yeah, Brand New Animal has this problem the most where it feels like they kind of fuck around for a lot of the show, and then they're like, oh shit, we have to explain the entire plot in 2 episodes. So they just have the villain just monologue it to the main character, and it's not great. But fucking Studio Trigger, they go in S. They go in S. Sorry, A. It's A in this case. They go in A. They go in A. They go in A. If I had an S, I'd make an S specifically for them. But they go in A. Now, Ufotable. I haven't seen actually a whole ton by Ufotable. I haven't actually seen a lot of Fate. I have not seen Unlimited Blade Works because I wanted to play the visual novel first. Now that I have played the visual novel, I will probably watch it very soon. And I will also watch Fate Zero very soon. The main thing I've seen by them is obviously Demon Slayer. But I have seen clips from Fate Zero and Fate Stay Night. I tried to watch Fate Zero a bunch of years ago, and I did not understand what was going on, and I realized I probably had to play the visual novel first. But now that I have, I will definitely be watching Fate Zero sometime soon. They did also the Kara no Kyokai movie. They've done a lot of stuff, a lot of adaptations of Fate stuff for Type Moon. And a lot of Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer is their big one. They're a studio that has less series under their name, but when they do, they really go whole hog and they really focus on those series a lot, and they do a really, really good job. Ufotable is kind of the king of CG camera movement. Yes, so like I mentioned before when I was talking about Studio Mappa, Ufotable is one of the 2 studios that has really, really mastered 3D background camera movement. So what a common trend that Ufotable does is that unlimited tax evasion works. A common trend that Ufotable does is that they will make their backgrounds in CG so that they can spend more time focusing on the fluidity of the animation for the main character, because what they do is they just animate the main character doing whatever they're doing in a vacuum, and then they plug in a CGI background and they put a fuck ton of blur on it so it doesn't really look like CGI anymore, and they just move that bitch around as the character's moving, and it looks phenomenal. It's a great use of CGI. Everything they do looks great. The Demon Slayer movie, Mugen Train, even the Demon Slayer second season TV show are some of the best looking anime that have ever existed in ever. So yeah, as we're getting close to the end, I'm getting tired. We're gonna be done soon. Ufotable goes in S, or A rather. White Fox. We have 2 more. We have White Fox and we have Wit. White Fox are a slightly less known one, but they did do a couple of big shows. They've done Steins Gate. They've done ReZero. They've done Akame ga Kill. They've done The Devil is a Part-Timer. They've done Goblin Slayer. A couple of pretty big shows. Kata Nagatari. They've done a couple of pretty big shows. Pretty big IPs. And they always do a good job. Steins Gate has a lot of very, very good cinematography. I've known a lot of people that have actively studied Steins Gate's cinematography because the anime does such a good job. ReZero is also apparently very good. I have not seen it, but it's also apparently pretty good. Their other two big shows, Akame ga Kill and Devil is a Part-Timer, I've seen both of those. Those ones are more mid-tier. They're not bad. They're not necessarily like anything to write home about, though. I actually had a lot of problems with Devil is a Part-Timer's plotline. But pretty good studio. I'm getting tired. It's the end of the night, and I gotta save up a little bit of oomph for the last one. They're going in B. Finally, we have Wit Studio. Wit Studio is tied to Studio Trigger as my favorite anime. I would argue with you, madam, about Ufotable and the camera movements because I think Wit does it better. Some of the shots, even because Wit does it as good as Ufotable does, but like 5 years earlier. Attack on Titan Season 1 does it. They do those incredible 3D camera back shots, and they look amazing, even back in like 2014, 2015. Almost every single show Wit has done is a banger. Obviously, they did almost all of Attack on Titan. Vinland Saga. Spike's Family was fantastic this year. Great fucking show. Owari no Seraph is a very girly sort of show. It's about hot vampire boys, but I really like it. They did fucking The Ancient Mage's Bride is its English name. They did Cabaneri of the Iron Fortress. They did The Great Pretender, which is the greatest anime ever made. I'm sorry. It's been done. There will never be a greater anime than The Great Pretender. You can all just go home. It's The Great Pretender. I'm sorry. They did Ranking of Kings. They did VV. They did fucking most of this stuff is just add-ons to their other shit. Almost every single show they've done is just phenomenal. Like, you can't beat them. You can't. Everything they do is so good. With such a good studio, just the quality of everything they make is phenomenal, and the range. They can do shonen like Attack on Titan. They can do comedy with Spike's Family. They can do hot boys with fucking Seraph at the End. They can do, contemplative fantasy. They can do, the best show ever made, which is about a bunch of con men, with a really unique art style. They can do crazy apocalypse story. When they write original stuff like Great Pretender, like Cabaneri of the Iron Fortress, their storytelling is great. When they do adaptations, they adapt their stories really, really well. Their animation, their straight up animation quality is flawless. Hello, GOV. Welcome. You seem new. I'm sorry. I'm about to end the stream, but thank you for joining us anyway. But yeah, just Wit is the best studio in every single category of everything. They're almost the only thing that they are not the top of is aesthetics, because Trigger just, you can't beat Trigger in aesthetics. But every other category, they fucking sweep. Wit is, I'm putting Wit all the way over here. I've done all the rest of these alphabetically. I haven't really ranked within tiers, but Wit goes at the top of A, because Wit's the best. No, do not let the show end. Vivi is good. I found some of the thematics kind of weird. AI is bound to destroy humanity because it's a human, so it needs to be destroyed, but by an AI against humanity. I have to let the flame die out, mice man. My voice is half gone, because I've been talking for 2.5 hours. But that is my tier list. Let me show you the full one. It's going over my face, but that's fine. Here's the full tier list. Here's the full tier list of anime rankings. I hope you enjoyed. And thanks, guys. Seriously, sincerely thank you for helping me get to 1K on the new channel. I know it's not Doki Doki Literature Club. I know it's not voice acting necessarily, although there is voice acting, and I know it's not any of the things that you guys originally followed me for, but I've been having so much more fun doing this new channel, and I feel like this is the thing I've always wanted to do, but just haven't quite had the courage to do until now. So post the list in the server. I will do that. Let me save it. Let me download it. I will put it on the server in one moment once the stream ends. Speaking of server, share the Discord server. Everybody already knows it, but share the Discord server anyway. Post it so I can see all the bad takes. Absolutely. I will. Right on the Discord server. If you want to join the Discord server, GOV, it is in, Mr. Sir will post it in the seconds. It's also in the description of this stream. There's a lot of good guys over there. They're weirdos, but please go join it. Join us in the Discord server and bash her for her shit takes. It's true. Please do that. But sincerely, thank you. It's been a much longer journey to get here than it was with the first channel. Obviously, I kind of, great stream, unsubbed, flagged for hate speech. Oh, you're in it. Good. Yeah, but I feel like this fan base is much stronger, I get way more views on these videos than I do on the ones on my old channel, even with 10 times the subscribers, 20 times the subscribers. So yeah, thanks for joining me so far on the journey. It's gonna be a long one, but I think it will be a satisfying one. And even if I'm covering weird, obscure shit, I'm glad that you guys have been there for it, and I hope you'll continue to be there in the future for it. Anyway, thanks very much, everybody.